Team, Sergeant Major Nelson, an applicant interview and education benefits next on Your Army Now. Coming to you live from the NorCal studios in Sacramento, California, this is Your Army Now. Hey team, what's going on? Sergeant Major Nelson, Your Army Now. As you heard in the commercial, we got a great show today. We're going to talk about GI Bill benefits, education benefits for applicants, veterans, etc. So, got to do a little transition, right? The coffee was this morning during the commercial shoot, and now we transition to the water. It's got to happen. But before I do that, let's talk about this. Right? Paper plate. Are you kidding me right now? Do they understand? You guys on the crack team understand that I am trying to get Facebook famous? And we shouldn't be using paper plates as a coaster. Can I get some Your Army Now coaster? What's up, team? Hey, so water bottle right there. I'm going to need that after I go to the whiteboard later and start drawing up this stuff. But let's talk about what's going on in Your Army Now. So, esports team. We've talked about esports countless times. The video game guys, they have jumped on a plane to New York City. Why? Because the NBA 2K draft is going on. I thought basketball season was already going on. This is the video game draft. Apparently, they draft people like that are superstars that play in the video game. So, our team, some representatives from the esports team are headed to NYC, and they're going to go, I don't know. I just know they're up there. We're represented. I don't know if anybody's getting drafted. We'll see. Hey, special shout out, Warrior Fitness Team. So this thing's been around for like 2 months, right? I think they just selected people as I look at the Instagram and Facebook stuff. Like within the last month, couple weeks. They were in Columbus, Ohio for the Arnold Classic. When I was recruiting there, I used to go to that. Awesome event. Meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger was pretty cool. But they won the 6-person CrossFit Endeavor competition. First place, Army team, soldiers, getting it done. All right, so, you know we're getting Facebook famous. The Army's got a band, right? We've got a band that back in my day was known as the Volunteers, the little rock band that came around to the high schools and toured all over. Now they're called As You Were. So maybe the old guys like me retired and young kids came up with a new game, As You Were. Well, listen, they're going on tour next month, and I think they reached out to us because we're so famous here at Your Army Now and said, hey, we would love to be interviewed on your show. I don't know if it happened that way. I talked to the crack team out there, producers and all that, and find out how it happened. But listen, you got something going on in your area, and you're Army famous, right? Warrior team, esports team. Reach out to us, and we'd love to talk to you, put you on the show, let you highlight your stuff. Which reminds me, so... well, we'll talk about this after because I'm going to need something to fill up the time before we go out of the show for today. Also, First Robotics, if you're in the California area, Sacramento or surrounding areas, First Robotics at UC Davis, University of California, Davis, we're going to be out there 21 to 23 March highlighting all kinds of STEM stuff. In fact, in thinking about this, again, if I can get the team, right, to put on their snivel gear because it's been cold here in California, I'm just saying we might do a live remote from First Robotics just because I think that would be cool. And we could talk to people in the industry about how we could tie in with the Army to what it is that they do. All right. I was going to save this till later. Hey, listen, Sergeant Matt Powell, one of my former soldiers, reached out to me. He's with the Army Marksmanship Unit and gave me his Sergeant Major's contact information. Hey, Jason, I'm sure you're listening. I'm going to reach out. What I'd love to do is have you as a guest on the show. We'll Skype you in or something, and we'll highlight the Army Marksmanship Unit and what it is that you guys do. Okay, appreciate you again, Matt, for reaching out to the show, dropping me that email, and we'll get you guys on the show. Because all we're doing is spreading the word, right? And you guys are doing great and wondrous things out there in the Marksmanship Unit, highlighting what else it is we do in the Army, other than just fight and win the war. Well, hey, listen, on the other side of the break, I'm going to the whiteboard. We're going to talk education benefits. This is Your Army Now.
I remember my first day being deployed. I was field artillery. People told me it was something to be afraid of. I wasn't afraid at all. This sense of passion comes out of you that you never knew that you ever had. We sweat hard, we play hard, but we worked even harder. Some people say that freedom isn't free, but really it is. Because you have us. My name is Staff Sergeant Bussey. The best part about being deployed for me was not just making a difference, but knowing I'm not sitting on my butt just talking about it.
Team, what's going on? Sergeant Major Nelson, and another interview for Your Army Now. Hey, I'm in Fairfield, California today doing Sergeant Major stuff, and the great thing is I got to interact with some kids of today that are joining the Army, and I got one to sit for an interview with me. Go figure. This is Mr. Nick Bardot. Welcome to Your Army Now.
Thank you, sir.
So, Nick, listen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised here in Fairfield, California. I attended Army High School, graduated right when I was 18. I just made the decision to go to college, so I went to Arizona State University. Enjoyed all my time there. Racked up a little bit of money in debt, thought about it, and I was like, well, I wanted to join the Army since I was a child. I'm 20 years old, and I wanted to go in, so I decided to do it now because I'm a little bit more mature. Back then, when I was 18, I wasn't informed about the military as much as I was now, and so I made the jump, and now here I am now, signing up, and should be leaving out March 18th.
All right. So, Nick, you mentioned that you racked up some debt, right?
Yes.
Student loan debt, I'm assuming what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's about right.
I don't want to jump into your financial business unless you want to tell, but so a couple years of college and you racked up how much debt in student loans?
About $39,000.
$39,000. Now, you understand, because we have great recruiters here in Fairfield, that the Army takes care of that kind of
They
stuff,
always take
right?
care of everything. It's the Army.
Right, we all
Uncle
take-
Sam will always take care of you.
Uncle Sam will always take care of you. You're absolutely right. So, 20 years old, you said you matured a little bit. You always wanted to join since you were younger, but
Yeah. When
then
I
that time comes.
Yeah.
You kind
Push
of
comes
like.
to shove, and I was like, nah, never mind.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's cool when you're 13, then all of a sudden you're 18 and the recruiters start calling. Now it's a different story,
Yeah,
right?
and then
So you were getting those calls in high school, where
Yeah.
you saw the Army recruiters
letters
in
all
high
on
school.
my door and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So, what was your thought then versus now?
Originally, when I was a junior in high school, I actually had an offer to go to Gonzaga, do ROTC for the Army over in Gonzaga, but then I didn't end up follow throughing with getting into Gonzaga University, so I was just like done with the Army at that point, and now I'm coming back because this is the branch I wanted to join to and get into.
So, obviously, when you were in high school, and even now,
Yeah.
you know, a recruiter had to talk to your parents, right? Because the family's
Yeah.
important to the Army. What were your parents thinking when you came home from Arizona and said, Mom, Dad, guess what? I'm going to be a soldier. How did that go?
Well, when they first reacted to it, they were like, you're 20 years old, it's your decision, it's your life, you want to do it, you do it, and it's really all on you. So I was not like majority of parents where they're like all against it, but yeah, so they just let me go for it because it's what I want to do. I've been talking about it. I got an offer to work at State Farm as a sales rep, but I ended up choosing the Army over the sales rep job just because I wanted the experience in the Army. and I'll take the experience over money any day.
Okay, good. So last couple questions. You said you're shipping out to the Army on March
18th.
March 18th.
Yes.
So what are you going to be doing for the Army? What job did you choose to do for the Army?
I chose to do infantry, and I also opted in to do airborne for infantry. So I'll be going to 22 weeks of infantry training, and then moving to airborne school. So
Nice.
I can learn to jump out of planes.
You an adventure junkie?
Kind of, yeah.
All right.
I enjoy that stuff.
Okay. Well, we'll see how much you enjoy it when you're in a airplane at 1,500 feet and you look down and everything looks like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
I don't want to jump. I'm just not going to look down. I'm just going to go for it. When they're yelling at you, you got to do it.
Hey, Nick, appreciate you coming to the team. We're glad you chose the Army.
Thank you.
If you got one thing left to say to all your friends out there, or all the naysayers, or people just on the fence not sure if this is for them, here's your 30 seconds to shine. We'll make you Facebook famous. Tell all your friends why they should join the Army.
My think about what you really want to do in life, and getting out of high school at 18, I really wish I went in right out of the back, just because I would literally be getting out of the Army next year from right now, instead of having to put 3 years of my life away right now, which is a lot of time, because time is not unlimited. It's very limited, so you might as well do what you want and live the life that you want to live. So if I could, I would go back and do it right now. I'd do it at 18.
All right. You heard it, team. 20-year-old young man. Now, granted, he didn't wait till he was 34 to do it. He's still doing it while he's young, so he'll enjoy all that jumping out of planes. Old men like me, we just watch people jump out of planes. We appreciate Nick for taking the time to sit for the interview.
Anytime.
Team, you're listening to Your Army Now.
My name is Julia Tanase. I go to Highlands High School. I want to be a combat medic, and I want to save lives and make my dad proud.
My name is Ethan Bloss. I go to Highlands High School. I'm joining the Army because I want to go as an infantryman. I'm doing it to make my grandfather and my sister proud.
Hi, my name is Bryson Alberti. I go to Highlands. I want to join because it's really a family branch for me. I just want to make my family proud, prove to myself that I can do it.
I'm Private Farrell from Creative Connections Art Academy. My MOS is Abrams Tanker. I joined the Army because I've always wanted to be.
I'm Private Lawson. I go to Castle Ridley High School. My MOS is M1 Armor Crewman. I joined the Army to get out of town and go see some new things, new culture, experience new places.
Hi, my name is Richard Campbell, and I'd like to join the Army because my great-grandfather, he served, and I'd also like to do what he did. I never saw him before, and I want to be an Army mechanic.
My name is Julian. I go to CCA High School, which stands for Creative Connections Art Academy. I want to join the Army as a Ranger candidate. As I had a grandfather who served in Vietnam, and I kind of just want to carry on the tradition.
Come be a part of our team, where big dreams become reality.
Major Nelson back at the whiteboard, Your Army Now. Hey, so wasn't that a great interview with Nick? Of course it was. But that $39K in debt is what has me up at the whiteboard, okay? That student loan debt. So we're going to cover a few things, active duty and reserve. So we're just going to draw it up here. So active duty, AD, USAR, that's Army Reserves, that part-time stuff that we talk about. First thing I'd like to talk about is the GI Bill. GI Bill, right? Both organizations have it. Few differences though, right? Few differences. So here's what we know about the GI Bill. And I'm going to get my notes so that somebody doesn't hit me back and go berserk and say, that's not true. All the current stuff, goarmy.com, va.gov, all the links that we will provide for you, give you all the data you need to know. More importantly, go into your recruiting station and they will hit you up. So GI Bill works like this. So it will pay up to the total tuition and fees for a state school, any in-state college, right? In-state tuition for any public school, right? So public school. SCHOOL. Somebody will fuss that I don't know how to spell, okay? So GI Bill interestingly enough, can be used while you're on active duty. You don't have to wait to use it, but generally for use after you get out. So here's what else is awesome about it. You want to, let's say you have your degree and you can transfer those benefits to your kids or to your spouse. So you can transfer. And then they say the same thing, right? In-state tuition, whatever. Now, let's say you go to a private school, right? Somebody out there wants to go to Harvard or Yale or whatever. Private school, PVT, that's how we abbreviate private in the Army. They will pay up to $23,671 active duty. Not bad, right? $100,000 for school. I'm down with it. Now, in addition to getting the money for school, you also get a housing allowance. What does that mean? Well, based on what the zip code is that your school's in, right? San Francisco, California, whatever, they will pay you the equivalent of an E5, which is a sergeant in the Army, with dependents rate housing allowance. I don't know what that is, because you can look it up because it varies by zip code, but that could be $2,000, $3,000. That comes right to you, deposited into your bank account. You don't even have to worry if you're going to school, you're at UC Davis, the government's paying them directly, okay? This housing allowance comes to you, so you're living with mom and dad, guess what? You're banking some dough. Additionally, books, $1,000 a year. So you got your books, supplies, whatever. Again, money goes right to your bank account. All right, now listen, there's rules to all of this, right? All this stuff here is saying you're a full-time student. Full-time equals, see, we'll turn that into an E with too many lines. Full-time equals 12 semester hours. So if you're going 6, you get 50% of this, et cetera, okay? So, GI Bill. Now, let's look at the Army Reserve GI Bill. Now, there's more to this. Let's see. Here's the other thing about the GI Bill, right? Doesn't have to be just degree-granting institution, right? If you want to go to HVAC school, Army covers it. You want to go to an apprenticeship, OJT, I didn't even know about this till I was doing show prep. We'll pay for that. There's rules on all of this stuff. Ask your recruiter, look it up. Licensing and certifications, you need to pay for that. We'll reimburse you for that. Nationally approved tests. You want to take SAT, GRE, MCAT, LSAT. If you're a lawyer, medical person, you know what all those tests are. Pay for that too. Flight training. You want to go learn how to fly a plane. Pay for that too. Again, every one of them has specific circumstances and amounts that they pay up to. So just go look and do the research. Follow the links. All right, so here's something interesting, Reserve GI Bill, right? So there's a couple things with the Reserve GI Bill. Let me look at it right here. So with the Reserve GI Bill, it's on one of these papers. Make sure I get this right, because I learned something today. Anyway, there is, that's tuition assistance. See, I'm a mess right now, but I got to get this right because somebody undoubtedly is going to complain on me here. That's active duty, reserves. Anyway, GI Bill for the reserves works like this. So I believe it's about $300. Then you can get a kicker of up to another $350. Again, it's all dependent upon the unit, the job, etc. For this, whether or not you get the kicker, you get the basic kicker, or you get the basic GI Bill. But something I found out interesting with the GI Bill, right, and it's written on this paper, one of these cool things, is the active duty GI Bill, all this stuff that's here. If you served on active duty as part of your reserve enlistment, you can qualify for this. So, for instance, if you were under Title 10, which just means you were called to active duty, or Title 32, for certain periods of time, you qualify for that. So, here's an example. You spent 90 days or more on active duty, ordered to active duty, you can get 40% of this. Did not know that. I just thought you stick with this, right? So listen, GI Bill. We agree that's one education benefit that is easy for you to get. Again, talk to your recruiter. Go in, see the recruiter at the recruiting station. They'll give you all the up-to-date stuff based on your job and all those things. Other education benefits. Now we're going to erase this, right? Because everybody took a picture of the whiteboard or is pausing right now to screenshot it. We're going to talk about other education benefits in the Army. How about we talk about tuition assistance? That's on this paper right here. What is tuition assistance? Qualify for both, right? Tuition assistance is nothing more than this. The Army will pay $250 per semester hour, up to $4,500 per year for you to go to college while you're serving. So you don't even have to touch your GI Bill. Just put that in the bank, right? That's just sitting there. So, GI Bill, right? Up to 16 semester hours a year. Or not GI Bill, tuition assistance, right? So if you're working on your undergrad, they'll pay up to 130 semester hours. If you're working on your graduate degree, 39 semester hours. Not bad, right? Now, in order to qualify for tuition assistance, here's what has to happen. You have to have graduated your MOS training, your job training, and served for 1 year before you can start collecting this. I think that's reasonable, right? Make sure you're in it for the long haul. So, if you want the graduate level, have to serve at least 10 years for them to pay it. Okay? That's what it does say here. If, and only if, your undergrad degree was paid by TA, any portion of TA. So if you came in with your degree and tuition assistance, I keep saying TA, tuition assistance wasn't paid, didn't pay for any of it, then right off the bat you can start using tuition assistance. But if tuition assistance paid for any portion of your undergraduate degree, you got to serve 10 years. So for the reserves, same thing. That's that's exactly an equal benefit. Doesn't matter, active duty, reserves. Anyway, here's something interesting I found for the reserves. Apparently, the Navy and the Marine Corps don't offer this benefit for their reservists. That's fascinating. Didn't know that until this morning. All right, so 2 ways to get college paid for. We know the last way, there's plenty of ways. Loan repayment program. Not going to go too much into depth on this. Up to $65K on the active duty that will pay there. And I've seen as much as up to $50K on the reserves. Again, these are all job dependent, stuff that comes with the job team. You got to go talk to your recruiter. I'm not going to go into great detail on those because these are so job specific based on what you pick as your MOS or your job in the Army. Hey, listen, again, educators, recruiters, teachers, parents, everybody in there, you've looked at this. I just shown you 2 benefits that are automatic. Doesn't matter about your job or anything, okay? That's the Montgomery GI Bill and the tuition assistance. Whole host of other education benefits. Share this with everybody you know. Give your students an opportunity to go to college for basically nothing and not be in student loan debt. Like you saw Nick on his interview, $39K in student debt. There's no reason, and now he knows how he's going to get that taken care of. On the other side of the break, team, we're going to wrap it up. This is Your Army Now.
My favorite part about this job is the sense of urgency that you have. When people need you, you have to work for them and you have to help them complete their mission.
I get to get my hands dirty. I get to get up in these big vehicles and say that I'm a female working on these big vehicles, which is uncommon to a lot of people.
I chose this occupation because I find a lot of joy in fixing things. I couldn't have picked a better job for myself.
I get to have a steady income, I get to play music, and I get to travel.
Being able to come in every day and play jazz is probably the most fulfilling thing that I could possibly do.
Ha ha! Well, I guess we're back. You caught me drinking water. Wasn't that amazing about that education stuff? Give me a second. Let me drink some water. Those of you that are my soldiers or have ever been my soldiers will appreciate the 1-gallon jug of water. Obviously, this is not a water jug. It was probably an iced tea jug, but we don't do endorsements, you know that, except for UConn. Wait, got the UConn hat on. Why do I have that? Well, that's the hometown team. And so the reason I did that, besides Connecticut is awesome, especially girls basketball team. Can you imagine, right? Gino Auriemma, this guy's got like 5 gazillion wins. Anyway, so I don't know if the men's team is going to make it. I don't watch basketball until tournament time, really. But I know I wanted to prop up Connecticut because they are actually hosting first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament this year. So that was pretty awesome to see. So that's why the UConn hat. Speaking of basketball, and I know this is completely off the subject. It's cool, right? I told you I don't watch basketball. Are John Starks and Patrick Ewing still playing? So that was back in like the 90s. I used to be a Knicks fan. And I think that's the last time they were any good. And that's why I stopped watching them. Hey, listen, important information, right? All that stuff we talked about on the whiteboard and all those benefits. Let me adjust this just a little bit. GI Bill. Go to gibill.va.gov. The links will be at the bottom, okay? If you want to know all in detail what's going on. And the tuition assistance stuff that we talked about, you're on active duty or you're a reservist currently drilling, GoArmyEd.com covers all the tuition assistance stuff. So why I'm thinking about that, right? We talked about earlier the Army Marksmanship Unit reaching out to us, the musical outreach reaching out to us. Team, listen, we appreciate what you're doing to help us grow. All right, scatterbrain, right? I got to show you my my little Snickers bar because I am kind of a scatterbrain. I did want to mention, as it goes to the education stuff, principals, teachers, educators, listen, there's no reason that you shouldn't be sharing this around with your friends. It's vitally important. If you could get a kid, a student of yours, all this education money, right, without fail, right? It's not a scholarship that they have to earn. It's a benefit they earn as in terms of service, whether it be active duty or reserves. Why wouldn't you share? Why wouldn't you have a recruiter come into your school, your institution, and at least share the information? Let a recruiter share the information with your students. So I ask that you do that. Anyway, bringing it full circle, team, listen, we appreciate what you're doing out there, right? You're growing the show. People are noticing. Again, you hear me talk about like, share, subscribe. You know we have a YouTube channel. Go on there and subscribe. Now, I guess all this stuff as the geniuses, right, that I call the crack team, tell me is it's all about relevancy, right? So you see what this video looks like, my face. When you go on YouTube and you type in Your Army Now, since those are popular search terms, you got to kind of scroll down a little bit till you see my smiling face and the Your Army Now stuff behind us. But if you click on that, and you subscribe, the more people we get to subscribe, when you type in Your Army Now, those videos will pop more up to the top. Okay, just a little thought. Instagram, Team Listen, we're working on it. I've been sharing sharing the show recently through a YouTube link on my Instagram. I'm not Instagram famous by any means. I got like 200 followers, but you're going to help grow that. More importantly, share out of there. Twitch and Facebook, we're all over. Okay, so parents out there, get your information. Team, listen. If you see these commercials that we put on in the middle of the show, there's no reason that can't be your station, your company, your events going on. If you do a little video, keep it a minute or less, right? Email it to us. We're on Global, the VRT. It's like U.S. Army, Fort Knox, blah, 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 VRT. Just check the bottom. There'll be the link to be able to email us directly. Send us that video, and we'll cut it into a commercial. Now, of course, there's going to be an outpouring of events and commercials that you're going to want to run out of Clarksville, Tennessee. I don't care. It's cool. Just understand, we only do about, what do we do? About 3 minutes of commercial time, 3 to 4 minutes. So yours might make it, it might not, but eventually we'll put it in the group and get it out there. Also, your events. We talked about First Robotics and everybody going to New York City for the NBA 2K draft. If you have events, email them to us. We will talk about them on the show. We will try, if it's a pretty cool event and we can try to get a special guest. Let's say it's Warrior Fitness Unit or something is coming to your area, Warrior Fitness Team. Maybe we can get somebody on from the team to talk about what they're doing. Hey, I don't know. Anyway, team, they're telling me I got to wrap it up. We need questions. So listen, you don't have to send your questions while we're live on the air. Send your questions at whatever time you watch, and we will address them the next day. Anyway, no music, but they're telling me I gotta go. I know you hear the music. Gotta thank the team, Brendan, JB, Dylan, Mark. I'm Sergeant Major Nelson. This is Your Army Now.